Sorry about that. Just need to check something, but I am back for another video. We're here to kind of continue on with the Keanu movies. I have decided today or this week, I am gonna review like I said on Twitter, the movie that, in my view, that really broke him. And I know he did a movie called Dangerous Liaisons before that, but to me, this was the movie that showed that Keanu can kind of, even though I'd kind of say co-lead, but show he's not just the Bill and Ted guy, and that he can do like serious stuff. So he did. I am reviewing Point Break, which came out in 1991, directed by Catherine Bigelow, who it's not a lot, 30, Zero Dark 30. Um, she did. Fuck, my mind just went blank. She's done like a lot, like Hurt Locker, which it's a really good one. A lot of like iconic films, like um, Near Dark. She's done a lot of good ones. So, and yeah, I would pretty much say co-lead, even though he's like the bad guy. Um, Patrick Swayze. I know I said fucking Val Kilmer. I was right the first time. It was fucking Patrick Swayze who. This isn't his usual role because he's usually like the good guy. Roadhouse, Dirty Dancing. Like he's usually like the lead good guy actor. And I just think in this movie he does it because he's likable. You like grow with his group. This movie is probably the ultimate surfing movie, even though it's more about like investigations and robberies. Because pretty much the story is we meet Johnny Utah, who's a former NFL, or not NFL, Ohio State football player turned rookie FBI agent, and Gary Busey is like his partner who they're investigating the ex-presidents who are as a group of guys in ex-president masks at the time, robbing banks. And Johnny believes he has a lead when he meets Bodie and his group, and he decides to go undercover. And yeah, so this is probably one of my favorite undercover movies. Because it gets complicated, and obviously he starts getting attached. Like he falls for this girl named Tyler, who initially gives him surfing lessons, and they start bonding. He actually starts kind of becoming friends with Johnny. Like even a scene with Bodie, which I guess I'll jump ahead in this scene, where he's chasing Bodie. He's in the mask, and he has pretty much a chance because Bodie's like climbing this like gate, and he has pretty much a chance to shoot him, and he doesn't take it. So like things like that happen. So I think it's an all around fun movie, fun surfer movie, fun FBI movie, great undercover movie. I think, there are some scenes where Keanu doesn't delivers the line and it doesn't come off great, but that's fine. I think it almost works because there's supposed to be like a surfer movie, so that's why he has like this surfer sounding voice. And it's just an all around fun film, I think. I haven't watched it since I think the last time I watched it was when that shitty remake came out in, I think it was 2015, pretty much 2016, because I remember it was like the end of 2015. Yeah, no, fuck that movie. So, I really did like it. The soundtrack is great. We have Rat who does Nobody Rides for Free, which is almost, I say, the theme for this movie, because it really does mean that. So, but yeah, we'll be kicking off that, and then tomorrow, the video I was going to be talking about, this Generation Hope video, apparently they took the video down. The video is called Racist White Lady Whips Two Black Boys Playing Basketball. It was really bad. So I'm going to either, like, tomorrow not do a video, or I'll figure something else out, because apparently they took the video down. So I can't react to that one, so we'll see. But I'll probably just think of something else tomorrow to talk about. So, but other than that, let's get ready to kick off the review. So the movie kicks off with the group of known as the ex-presidents robbing a bank, which I think, well, we get like this, opening credits where you see like the waves and stuff. You have this like super 90s song playing. Then we see the group called the ex-presidents rob a bank. And I think this scene's well done. The robbery scenes are really good. And I even they even add the touch of talking like who are like the mask is a Richard Nixon mask. It's then there's I think a Jimmy Carter mask. Then definitely a Reagan mask. I'm thinking there's one more, but Lyndon Johnson. Fuck Lyndon Johnson. I'll talk about that some other time. But yeah. Anyway, but really cool opening scene. So then we meet Johnny Utah training, and then he meets Agent Angelo Papez, played by Gary Busey. And we meet the guy. Then we also meet John C. McGinley. He's basically the asshole head in charge, who you might recognize him as the guy from. He's like probably the famous dude from Scrubs. So he gets put on this mission, not this mission, but this assignment, and I actually really like the scenes. Like before, Johnny, meets with with Bodhi. I like the scenes where he's interacting with Gary Busey. I forgot Gary Busey was in this movie, to be honest. But yeah, Gary Busey's great. I think they has like it's not a buddy cop, but like they have a nice chemistry as like partners. So they're basically investigating string of bank robberies. And Papez has a theory that the criminals are surfers, and obviously no one initially believes him. He goes undercover, and he's trying to infiltrate the surfer community, where he meets Tyler, who I actually think does a pretty good job in this. Is clearly the love interest. She saves him in his first attempt because he almost drowns, then kind of scolds him, and then next day she works at this, like, it's like a diner. I don't think it's a diner, but it's like a restaurant place, and he asked her to give him lessons. She initially is like skeptical, but then he gives her this fake story about his parents dying, and then they meet Bodhi. This is where Bodhi's introduced, and I think Patrick Swayze does such a good job with this because he makes Bodhi a likable guy. Like, yeah, he's a criminal. Granted, we don't know he's a criminal yet when we first meet him, but like gradually when we start realizing, oh shit, he is the robbers. So we meet Bodhi and his boys, named Roach, Gromit, and Nathaniel. And initially they're wary of Utah, but then they realize he's the Ohio State. Like, they play football, and this movie is shot well. Like, that's another thing I'm gonna really say. The movie is shot well. Like, this, the cinematography is great. Like the big outshot, like the big, shots of like just the beaches just are really done well. The editing is great. Even like the little chase scene we get later on is really good. Like, I think they do a really good job in this movie. So they're wary of him initially. And so eventually he starts getting more into the lifestyle. There's a scene where Bodhi kind of saves Utah because Utah was about to get jumped by these other group of surfers. And then they find a clue when they realize one of the hair of one of the robbers matched one of the hairs of the guy. So they're starting to realize, it might be them. But then Utah and Papas end up doing a raid on a different group of surfers, which is the ones he got beat up by earlier. Um, I still like this scene, dope raid scene. Him and Gary Busey are just have a night because yeah, um, I think they have a nice chemistry together. So they end up fucking up. Obviously, they get scolded. It turns out one of the people that lives in that's actually posing as one of the surfers because they're trying to. He was trying to do a to find out the source of because they were selling drugs. So but then hanging out with Bodhi, he starts realizing, oh, Bodhi might be the robbers. So, and because there's a scene specifically in the beginning where one of them moons the camera, and then one of them moons like when he's noticing one of the group is mooning somebody, it like matches, so he realizes it. And then Utah leaves. Then the next day, Utah and Pappas are staking out a bank, and then while Utah is getting lunch, one of the banks gets robbed. Then Pappas and Utah do the chase, but then I think they end up crashing. Um, so Utah has to chase him off foot, and we get like a nice chase scene, and they end up. I think where they end up at is the L.A. Sound because I think I know where that is. But Pappas ends up because he ends up rolling down badly on his knee, and this is the scene I was talking about where he couldn't shoot because it was it was fuck my mind went blank. It was fucking Bodhi in the mask, so he couldn't shoot him. So then we get a scene of Pappas kind of going off on Bodhi, not Bodhi, all going off on Utah because he thinks like you either are with him or you're like not wanting me with him. He's getting too attached or he got scared, so he's kind of scolds him for a bit. Then he walks off. So Bodhi and the group now know that Utah is a federal agent, so they have to figure out a way. Then we get a scene of Tyler and Bodhi. I keep saying Bodhi. Tyler and Utah, relaxing, but then Tyler finds his FBI badge. She runs off. Then Bodhi and his gang show up, and then we get the iconic skydiving scene. Then we get a nice jump scene, which is really great. Really, this movie is such a mix because it's a robbery movie, but it's also like a surfing movie, or just a adrenaline junkie movie in general because of the just this scene alone. But when they land, Bodhi shows them a video of one of his guys having Tyler tied up. Like she's tied up. He has a knife on her. Basically says, if you don't participate with us in this robbery, she's gonna get killed. So he basically recruits Bodhi to do the robbery with him, but Bodhi recruits Utah to do the robberies with him, but doesn't give Bodhi I don't know why they don't give Utah a mask. It's almost like a way to humiliate, so he's shown to be. So they end up robbing the bank. Things go normally, but then Bodhi, for some reason, because throughout the film they have shown that they have done so many robberies, they don't go for the vault. They just take the money from the registers. So they decide to get Bodhi changes his mind for some reason, and into participating, into decides to go into the vault, while it turns out there's a security guard and an off-duty cop. They try to foil the robbery, but they end up getting killed but one of Bodhi's boys, Gromit, ends up getting killed. Um, Bodhi then knocks Utah out with the butt of the gun and then runs out. Then the FBI initially are trying to arrest Utah because they're trying to basically say he's an accessory to two murders. And then the scene I was just fucking waiting for the whole time. You have Gary Busey punch out the head FBI guy. I'm gonna be honest. To be fair, those kind of characters, like it's the same thing with like cop movies where you're gonna have that asshole superior cop who's always just scolding the hero. I think they do that in this, but I just think they did it a bit much. Where I'm like, this guy almost has no use for this story. Honestly, I would have just only had him had a few scenes. I don't think he needed to have as much. I like that guy as an actor, but I just don't think he was needed in this movie. If it's not even a really criticism, but just a little, like, issue, very little issue. I would have wrote his character out of the movie or given him a way smaller role because he was just there to be an asshole the whole time. Like, if you're gonna have an asshole, so at least have him also have a reason to be there, or almost have a reason he's an asshole. It just seemed like he was just there to be a dick, and then that's it. So he gets punched out. Pappas seemingly is taking Utah, but then he frees Utah, and Utah knows where Bodhi and his gang are. They're trying to fly off to Mexico, or I think it's at the Santa Monica airport, or they head to the airport where Bodhi, Roach, and Nathaniel are about to leave for Mexico. Then we get like a giant shootout where Pappas and Nathaniel are both killed, and a bloody Roach and Brody get on the plane, and they force Utah into the boat, in the plane. So Bodhi and Roach jump down, parachute down, but then we get a really cool scene of Utah deciding I'm gonna jump down with the gun because he's intending to basically kill. Because initially, you know, Bodhi's like, I will release Tyler if you do this robbery with me, but then obviously he doesn't. He jumps down and tries to kill. He jumps on Bodhi's chute, but Bodhi refuses to pull the chute, and basically can't. Basically, Utah has to either choose to pull the chute or shoot him. So he ends up dropping the gun. Then they crash land, and I think it's implied Roach died. Yeah, Roach died. Um, and Rosie shows up, and Bodhi decides, all right, release Tyler. So Tyler gets released, kisses on Utah while Rosie and Bodhi leave. Then we jump 9 months where Utah is actually tracking Bodhi down, which I actually really like this scene, even though it's like the last few minutes of the movie. Ends up tracking down Bodhi, confronts him while Bodhi's about to, because he's been talking about this thing called the 50-year storm, and he's trying to bring Bodhi into custody. Bodhi into custody. Then we get like a really quick fight. Then Utah ends up handcuffing himself to Bodhi, so he like definitely can't escape. Then Bodhi is trying to convince him, just let me go and do the storm. You already have me. He wants to relieve. He wants to just ride the wave. And Utah decides to, because he knows Bodhi's not going to survive. And Bodhi gets to the wave. The authorities watch basically Bodhi die. Or then Utah throws his badge. And then Nobody Rides for Free plays in the credits. Really good movie. Really fun. I like I think Patrick Swayze plays such a good bad guy. Yeah, Bodhi's a bad guy, but then like throughout the film they show you why he does it, not justifying what he does. But I think he and it's also just it's Patrick Swayze. He's a good actor. Keanu did really good. Yeah, there was some line delivery that's wonky, but then I also just chalk it up to he's trying to talk like a surfer. So, and it's set in California, so it's just Southern California especially. So it's like they're going for that like Southern California surfer look, surfer. But the soundtrack is good. This film is shot well, man. The cinematography is really good in this. I think Gary Busey's a really good character. He's really likable. He clearly cares about Utah. Like he clearly does. Initially he thinks Utah just is some punk, but then eventually they start growing, and it just, his death's sad. I love the robbery scenes. Just an all around great movie. Like I think that's really all I can say. Like the score is good, the cinematography is good, the action's good. It's like so much, almost genres and themes in one. Like it's a surfer movie, but it's also a robbery movie. It's definitely in a undercover movie, and I love the undercover moments. And the moment his cover is blown, and I love like when that happens. Initially, you don't have Bodhi just like any other bad guy would have just blown up and try to fuck up Utah at that moment, but he's like, no, we're gonna fucking fuck with this guy. We're gonna like make it seem like we're cool, and then yeah. So I just think they did a really good job with that, and I love the ending. So I definitely recommend this one, especially this is the movie of it. That's why I was like, when I heard they were remaking it, I'm like, why? This is one of those movies that's a product of its time. It's early '90s. You have like this surfer theme, and it wouldn't work now. It would just be a generic undercover story. And then my other thing is, what are you gonna remake it and do it different? Like you're not gonna do anything that different from the original. Are you just gonna like? But it's just set in a modern setting now. So, but yeah, Point Break is great. This is the movie that showed Keanu has potential to be a lead actor, not just the Bill and Ted guy. And next week's Keanu movie is gonna be fucking Point Break. I can't wait. I rewatched that movie about like 2 or 3 months ago, and that movie is fucking awesome. That in my opinion, I think that's probably one of his best movies after The Matrix. To be honest, like it's just such a good action flick. It's basically Die Hard on a bus. So, but it's great. So, but it's also not a Die Hard ripoff either, though. Just like it's this crazy terrorist attack just on this thing, but it's not a Die Hard ripoff though. Like it still has its own idea. So that'll be next week. But Point Break is definitely a 9 out of 10. Really good film. Definitely will watch it again. It's not going to be one I watch all the time, but it has such a good aesthetic, and it's just such a good film. So definitely recommend it. Tomorrow I'll try to figure out what I'm gonna do since fucking Generation Hope took that video down. Cause my god, that video would have been funny, man. It was so fucking bad. So I might just talk about the video, even though they took it down. Maybe we'll see. But I'll figure something out. But take one more hit. And I'm gonna cheers to this movie and peace out. But other than that, fuck Warner Brothers, fuck Disney, fuck LeBron, fuck Colin Kaepernick, fuck Joy Reid, fuck Kevin Smith, fuck Seth Rogen, and fuck the Biden administration. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace!